greetings, our dear Earthlings, because so many have begun to question and even lose hope as they look out on today's world. This message is intended to bring greater understanding and encouragement with regard to Earth's ascension process. Much of this has to do with the fact that so many are continuing to hold three-dimensional concepts of what the ascension process should look like, and then when it doesn't, they begin to doubt and question. When you first learned about Earth's ascension years ago, some of you came to anticipate that it would unfold in a certain way because at that time there were many channels and books giving predictions and information about it, and you came to expect that it would unfold as the predictions said it would. Predictions can and often are not reliable simply because they represent the energy that is present in that now moment, and also because predictions flow through the state of consciousness of the channel, which may or may not be of a high level. Some continue to await the arrival of benevolent ETs who they believe will land, clean the planet, and remove those holding the world in lack and limitation through manipulations, lies, and creations based in duality, separation, and two powers. Others, even now, are expecting a massive experience to change everything without their having to do anything other than watch it happen. An event of high resonating energy will at some point happen, but can only occur when Earth's energy through the presence of an awakened majority has risen to levels that allow it to manifest. The ascension process is well underway, but because it is not unfolding as many expected, they question and have begun to doubt that the ascension process even exists. Nothing seems to be changing or getting better, and conditions the world over just seem to be getting increasingly worse. Dear ones, this is your time to remember not to judge by appearances, because you who are spiritually evolved came to Earth fully aware of and prepared for these present times. It is imperative to continue trusting that what you witness in the outer scene is necessary to the unfolding of the divine plan. Those observing and judging through three-dimensional filters are unable to understand this. It is important to understand that the people of Earth, both past and present, have created and continue to create a three-dimensional collective consciousness that has for eons influenced everyone and everything in the world. As increasingly more individuals awaken and shift into a higher state of consciousness, they are creating a new and higher collective consciousness, one that will manifest as a more evolved world. This is how the ascension process works. There are more highly evolved beings than you can imagine on other planets and in the higher dimensions standing ready to assist with Earth's ascension process. Because it is the consciousness of the majority that forms the collective, the people of Earth themselves must be the ones to bring about Earth's ascension through their awakening to a higher state of consciousness. This is why you who are evolved were and are needed to be on Earth at this time. Every living thing is formed of, is an expression of, and embodies all the qualities of omnipresent divine consciousness. Therefore, whatever a person holds as truth in their consciousness, which in reality is the one God consciousness individualized, they automatically create, because consciousness as interpreted through mind is the substance of form. In reality, there are no victims, just an unawareness of truth. It is as if a person has $1 million in an account that they know nothing about, and so they continue living each day in lack and limitation. Many spiritually evolved individuals, you wanted to be a part of these present times because you understood that the presence of evolved states of consciousness on Earth would serve to lift the collective, which was unable to rise above its own density. The spiritually evolved appear to live ordinary lives like everyone else, but in seemingly simple and practical ways they bring light into all decisions, guidance, issues at work and home life, with family and friends, and in any situations that may arise. This is true light work. The increased presence of higher resonating states of consciousness now on Earth is and will continue to bring about the exposure of many long hidden and well-established dark agendas. These energies must surface in order to be recognized for what they represent and no longer accepted by the majority. When no longer supported by belief, The energies that formed and has maintained them will no longer exist. The presence of increasingly more light in collective consciousness is acting to expose long-hidden self-serving activities and secrets. Many of those on whom the light is shining do not like it and are reacting ways that align with their state of consciousness. This may be violence, but more often is through activities based in old energy that will soon no longer work as before, because the presence of increasingly more light energy is serving to dissolve them. It is very important to remember who you and everyone else really is in spite of everything going on in the outer scene. Even those causing problems for others are expressions of divine consciousness. Never doubt that Earth is a spiritual universe peopled with sons and daughters of God, for God alone is in every appearance. To the contrary is an illusory mind formation flowing from personal and collective states of consciousnesses conditioned with beliefs of duality, separation, and two powers. You came to bring light to a planet unable to lift itself out of dense energies that have continued too long. You were aware before coming that your lives would probably involve some personal difficulties, because you would be clearing remaining old energies for yourself as well as for the world. Keep in mind that every person you become aware of, both far and near, everyone you know personally or are only slightly aware of, becomes a part of your consciousness, as does what you believe about them. Free will does not give those choosing to be violent and commit crimes permission to do what they want. Those living solely from a three-dimensional state of consciousness only understand, align with, and learn from that which reflects their level of consciousness. Ideally, three-dimensional consequences should be administered by those who recognize the innate divinity of the one needing to experience consequences, which in turn will bring the energy of love to it. This is true in any situation where consequences for actions are necessary: home, work, with family and friends. God alone is which automatically makes everything not in alignment with love and light illusory. Those who are spiritually awake, as well as those who are not, are experiencing the presence on Earth of both high resonating and heavy dense energies. However, in spite of appearances, new and better ideas for every aspect of daily living are forming in the minds of increasingly more individuals and will soon begin to manifest. An increasing majority is rapidly recognizing they have been living under and accepting laws and leaders that reflect old beliefs and solutions based in force, prejudice, hate, violence, and separation, and are now beginning to sense that all life is somehow connected. Most are not yet consciously aware of why they are thinking and feeling in these new ways, but their awakening sense of connection indicates the birthing of a new and higher collective. You must cease continuing to think of yourselves as human beings who must engage and align with the problems and solutions of the world. You incarnated in order to come out and be separate, because you knew that you could not help a suffering world by aligning with it which creates the problems. You are not a human being, you are divine spiritual consciousness individualized, who chose to enter the low resonating energies of a third-dimensional planet and temporarily wear a suit of materiality in order to add light to Earth's collective, and by so doing bring about change. You are not on Earth by accident. Know yourself as divine consciousness. We are the Arcturian Group.